They laughed at Earth, and the sound of that laughter echoed across the grand chamber of the Galactic Council. The hall was massive, built from dark crystal and floating metal rings that slowly moved around the ceiling. Stars from 1,000 systems shined through the transparent walls, and every seat was filled with powerful alien leaders. In the center of the chamber stood a single human. Ambassador Elias Rowan did not look powerful. He did not wear heavy armor or glowing royal robes. He wore a simple dark uniform with a small silver badge of Earth on his chest. His hands were calm. Behind his back, his face showed no anger. But inside the chamber, the laughter grew louder. One tall, blue-skinned counselor projected a giant image above them. The image showed human ships, small compared to the massive war cruisers of the Draconic Empire. Primitive engines, the counselor said. Weak shields, said another. Divided planet, said a third voice. They displayed statistics, numbers, fleets, population growth, military output. Every number was used to prove one thing: humanity was weak. The Dravik war minister leaned forward, his sharp golden eyes glowing. Earth should be grateful we allow them in this council, he said. Soft whispers of agreement moved across the chamber. But Elias did not argue. He did not raise his voice. He simply looked up at the projected image of human ships and then back at the council. Humanity understands your concerns, he said calmly. That made them laugh even more. Concerns, the Dravik minister repeated. We are not concerned, human, we are amused. Another leader spoke. Your kind fights among itself, your nations argue, your people doubt, you are not ready for the stars. The words were sharp, but Elias did not react. Far away from the council chamber, Earth was listening. Deep beneath the ocean, a hidden command center received every word. Generals and scientists watched the broadcast in silence. No one spoke. Above Earth, the small human defense fleet remained still, orbiting quietly, like it had nothing to prove. Back in the council chamber, the vote was called. The Draconic Empire proposed limited control over human trade routes for their protection. It was not protection. It was humiliation. It meant Earth would become dependent. Weak watched. One by one, lights turned green in favor of the motion. The galaxy had decided. Humanity was not strong enough to stand alone. Finally, the council speaker looked down at Elias. Does Earth accept these terms? For a moment, the chamber grew quiet. This was the moment they wanted. They wanted to see the human admit weakness. Elias slowly stepped forward. Earth accepts your decision, he said. Shock passed through a few faces, but quickly turned back into smiles. Wise choice, human, the Dravik minister said. But Elias continued. Earth also understands that strength is not always loud. The chamber grew slightly quieter. What does that mean? The blue counselor asked. Elias gave a small, calm smile. You will understand soon, he said. Before anyone could respond, he touched the small silver badge on his chest. Far beyond the known borders of the galaxy, a faint signal moved through deep space. It was not a loud signal. It carried no threat. It was only a short-coded pulse. In a dark system hidden by dying stars, something ancient waited. Massive ships rested in complete silence, their surfaces dark like shadows against space. For years they had not moved. For years they had watched. Deep inside the largest vessel, red eyes slowly opened. A low voice echoed through its silent halls. The signal has arrived. On Earth, Ambassador Elias turned away from the council. Behind him, alien leaders began speaking again, laughing again, confident again. They believed the matter was finished. They believed humanity had accepted its place. But as Elias walked out of the chamber, he did not look defeated. He looked certain, because sometimes the most dangerous answer is silence. Far beyond the bright borders of the galactic maps, there was a region of space no empire claimed. Stars there were old and dim, their light weak, and fading. Thick clouds of dark matter covered entire systems like a curtain hiding secrets from the universe. Inside that darkness, something waited. The signal from Earth moved through space like a whisper. It carried no name, no threat, no emotion, just a pattern ancient and simple. Deep within the shadow system, a massive structure slowly powered on. It was not built like human ships. It was not smooth or bright. It was vast and heavy, shaped like a blade carved from night itself. Its surface absorbed starlight instead of reflecting it. Inside the command chamber of the largest vessel stood High Commander Valek of the Draconian Fleet. His species was tall with dark scaled skin and glowing red eyes. Their history was older than most empires, their pride even older. Years ago, when a deadly plague destroyed their homeworld, no empire answered their call for help. No empire except one. Earth had sent medicine ships and scientists without asking for power or territory. Humans saved millions of draconian lives and then left quietly. The galaxy never knew. Valek remembered. He stood still as the coded pulse from Earth appeared in the center of the chamber as a soft, floating symbol. Only one message was hidden inside. Request acknowledged. That was all. Valek closed his eyes for a moment. Prepare the fleet, he said. His voice was low, but it echoed across the vessel. Around him, thousands of officers moved instantly, without question. Deep in the darkness, enormous engines began to wake. But there was no roaring sound, no bright energy burst. Draconian ships did not scream when they moved. They glided. One by one, colossal warships detached from hidden docks, each ship larger than a small moon, their surfaces covered in silent weapons that did not glow or flash. Their technology was different from every empire. They used gravity distortion and phase collapse weapon systems that erased matter instead of exploding it. They did not destroy loudly. They removed existence. Back near the core worlds of the galaxy, the Dravic Empire prepared its own fleet. Their commanders joked about how quickly Earth would accept control. They sent scouts toward human territory confident and relaxed. Their scanners showed no threat. Human fleets remained small and quiet. What they did not detect was movement in the empty regions between stars. Draconian ships did not emit heat or energy trails. They bent space around them, hiding their presence completely. As the first Dravic War fleet entered human outer territory, something shifted. Their long-range scanners flickered. Captain Wrath of the Dravic flagship frowned. Scan again, he ordered. Nothing unusual appeared, but he felt something. Space felt heavy. Behind his fleet, invisible shadows formed. Valek watched from his command throne as holographic projections showed Dravic ships moving closer to Earth. Distance calculated. Intercept point confirmed. Do we warn them? One officer asked. Valek stared at the glowing map. Humans did not ask for warning, he said. They asked for balance. All ships hold silent formation. Thousands of Draconian vessels aligned in perfect order, surrounding the invading fleet from every direction, yet remaining unseen. Back on Earth, generals in the Hidden Ocean Command Center received a simple message. Fleet in position. No celebration followed. No cheering. Only silence. Ambassador Elias stood alone on a balcony overlooking the lights of the city. He looked up at the night sky. The stars seemed calm, peaceful. No one on the planet knew how close war truly was. In deep space, Captain Wrath suddenly felt cold. All external communications have stopped, an officer reported. Navigation glitching, another said. Wrath stood from his command chair. Something is wrong, he whispered. Outside his massive warships, engines glowed bright, unaware that dark shapes now blocked every escape path. In the Draconian command chamber, Valek raised one clawed hand. Target locked, confirmed. Every Dravic vessel was surrounded. They still did not see. They still did not hear. Valek lowered his hand slowly. And in the endless silence of space, the hunt began. The first Dravic cruiser disappeared without a flash. One moment, it was their engines burning bright, weapons charged and ready. The next moment, it was gone. No explosion. No debris. No signal. Captain Wrath stared at the tactical display. Where is Cruiser 7? He demanded. Silence answered him. Then another ship vanished. Officers began shouting over each other. Scanners were pushed to maximum range. Emergency scans flooded the system, but nothing appeared on the screens. It was as if space itself was swallowing them. Wrath felt fear crawl into his chest. Form defensive sphere, he ordered raise shields full power. Massive energy barriers surrounded the Dravic fleet, glowing blue against the darkness. But the darkness did not move. It did not attack. It only waited. Inside the Draconian command vessel, Valek watched calmly. His red eyes reflected the shrinking icons of the Dravic fleet. Phase cannons charged. His officer spoke quietly. "Ready, Commander." Valek gave a small nod. Fire in sequence. Far around the trapped fleet, invisible waves moved. They were not beams of light. They were distortions. Reality bending and folding. Another Dravic battleship folded inward like paper, crushed by unseen hands, and vanished. Panic exploded across the Dravic command deck. "They are not firing weapons," one officer cried. "Then what is happening?" Wrath shouted. His sensors finally detected something. Not energy, not matter. Absence. Large areas of empty space where something heavy distorted gravity itself. "We are surrounded," he whispered. For the first time, the proud Dravic fleet understood. They were prey. Back on Earth, deep in the Ocean Command Center, every screen showed only one message. Engagement active. Human generals watched in silence. No cheers. No orders. The Draconians needed none. In space, smaller Dravic ships tried to flee. Their engines burned bright as they rushed toward what seemed like open space. They struck invisible walls. Massive Draconian blockade ships revealed their outlines for a single second, dark shapes against distant stars. Then the fleeing ships were erased. One by one, Captain Wrath opened a direct broadcast to the Galactic Council. "This is Warfleet Wrath under unknown attack. Request immediate reinforcement." His message cut off mid-sentence. His flagship trembled. The space around it shimmered like heat above fire. Inside the Draconian vessel, an officer spoke. "Last enemy flagship locked." Valek stood slowly. Open visual channel. For the first time, Captain Wrath saw them. The darkness shifted. Colossal blade-shaped ships emerged, their surfaces black and gold, their eyes glowing red like silent predators. No weapons glowed. No engines roared. They simply existed. Wrath felt small. "Who are you?" he demanded. Valek appeared on the projection, tall, still, and calm. "We are balance," he said. "You mocked those who showed mercy. You mistook silence for weakness." Wrath tried to raise weapons. "Systems offline," his officer cried. Valek gave no long speech. No threats. He simply raised his hand. The Dravic flagship compressed inward soundlessly, its hull folding like crushed metal until it collapsed into nothing. Silence returned. Across the battlefield, the remaining Dravic ships were gone. No wreckage. No survivors. Only empty space where an entire invasion fleet once stood. In the Galactic Council chamber, emergency alerts flashed red. Contact with Warfleet lost. Complete signal disappearance. Confusion spread. Fear followed. Ambassador Elias sat quietly in his seat. He did not smile. He did not speak. Around him, alien leaders whispered in shock. How can a fleet vanish? What weapon does this? Elias finally stood. Humanity does not seek war, he said calmly. But humanity does not stand alone. Far beyond their sensors, the Draconian fleet reformed into silent formation. Valek looked at the distant star that marked Earth. First lesson delivered, he said. Prepare for Phase 2. And once again the ships moved. Without a single sound. In the heart of the galactic core, panic spread faster than light. Emergency channels flooded every major empire. The Dravic invasion fleet had vanished. Not damaged. Not defeated. Erased. No debris field. No escape pods. No distress echoes. Just empty space. Inside the Grand Council chamber, the lights dimmed as leaders argued over each other. This is impossible. No weapon can remove an entire fleet. This is human deception. Ambassador Elias remained seated, calm and silent. He did not defend humanity. He did not accuse anyone. His silence made them more afraid. Far from the council, in the same dark, forgotten star system, the Draconian fleet waited in perfect formation. Thousands of massive ships hung motionless around their command vessel. They did not celebrate. They did not boast. For them, this was not victory. It was correction. Inside, the flagship commander Valek studied the galactic map. The Dravic Empire was not the only one that had voted against Earth. Several other empires had supported control over human trade. They had laughed. They had approved humiliation. An officer stepped forward. Secondary fleets, mobilizing near human borders. Valak nodded slowly. They doubt what they cannot see. Send reconnaissance shadows. Immediately smaller Draconian vessels slipped into phase drift mode, their forms bending space as they traveled unseen toward key alien systems. On Earth, night covered the cities. People lived normally unaware that the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. Deep below the ocean, Human Command received another message. Primary objective complete. Threat level reduced. But the generals knew this was not the end. Fear creates desperate actions. In the Dravic capital, chaos ruled. Families of soldiers demanded answers. Military commanders tried to explain the disappearance. Some blamed secret superweapons. Others blamed internal sabotage. But none had proof. In orbit around their capital planet, remaining defensive fleets activated. Huge cannons powered up. Shields expanded. They prepared for visible war. But visible war did not come. Instead, in the silence between stars, dark shapes formed. Draconian blockade ships positioned themselves beyond sensor range. They did not fire. They did not move closer. They simply watched. Back in the council chamber, a trembling counselor turned toward Elias. "What have you done?" Elias looked directly at him. Humanity defended itself. Nothing more. Another leader stood angrily. "You brought an unknown fleet into our space. You risked total war." Elias spoke softly. War was already moving toward Earth. We answered. Suddenly, every screen inside the chamber flickered. A new transmission forced itself through their secure networks. The image that appeared froze the entire room. Commander Valak stood tall, scales, dark eyes glowing like distant stars. His voice was calm, deep, and controlled. "To the leaders of this galaxy, you mistake noise for strength. You mistake mercy for weakness. Humanity saved our species when none of you answered. We repay debts. We do not forget. If any empire advances toward Earth again, we will remove the threat. No warning. No announcement. Only silence." The transmission ended. For several long seconds, no one spoke. Fear settled heavy across the chamber. They had seen the fleet. They had heard the promise. And they knew it was not empty. Outside in deep space, Draconian ships slowly repositioned, forming a silent wall around human territory. They were not invaders. They were guardians. On his balcony, overlooking Earth, Elias watched the stars. He knew the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had not shouted, had not threatened, had not shown power openly. But now every empire understood one truth. The quietest force in the universe was also the most dangerous. And far beyond the last known star, Commander Valak gave a final order. Maintain silent watch. Because fear once planted never truly fades. Fear spread across the galaxy like a slow, dark storm. No empire spoke openly about it, but every leader felt it. Entire fleets had vanished without battle, without warning, without even a final scream. The Dravic Empire, once proud and loud, had become silent. Their borders closed. Their patrols doubled. Their arrogance faded. In the Grand Council chamber, meetings no longer echoed with laughter. Voices were lower now. Careful. Measured. Ambassador Elias returned to his seat, as always calm and unreadable. This time no one mocked him. No one displayed human statistics. Instead, a new question filled the chamber. What else is Earth hiding? Deep within Dravic space, military commanders reviewed the final sensor logs. They replayed the last seconds before disappearance. Each recording showed the same thing. A distortion, a shadow, a gravity shift, then nothing. Scientists tried to simulate the event. Their computers failed. They could not recreate absence. Meanwhile, Draconian reconnaissance vessels drifted silently across key hyperspace routes. They did not attack. They observed every fleet movement, every weapons activation, every secret meeting. Commander Valak studied reports from his officers. Several minor empires were secretly discussing a coalition. not to attack Earth, but to defend themselves from the unknown. Fear changes strategy, he said quietly. Let them feel watched. One by one, Draconian ships revealed their presence briefly near military shipyards. Just enough to be seen, never long enough to be targeted. Entire star systems reported sightings of black and gold blade-shaped vessels. No hostile action, only silent observation. Markets across the galaxy reacted. Trade shifted. Alliances adjusted. No empire wanted to risk angering Earth. On Earth, life continued. News outlets speculated about sudden political changes. No official statement confirmed Draconian involvement. Human leaders spoke only of peace and stability. Deep below the Ocean Command Center, another message arrived. Multiple fleets standing down near outer colonies. Human generals exchanged looks. The message was clear. Deterrence effective. But Commander Valek was not satisfied. Fear alone does not secure peace. Respect does. He ordered a controlled demonstration. Far from populated systems, an abandoned asteroid mining zone was selected. Draconian ships appeared openly for the first time in that region. A small unmanned Dravik surveillance drone happened to be nearby. It recorded everything. A single Draconian vessel moved forward. No glowing cannon. No charging sound. Space bent around the asteroid field. Massive rocks, hundreds of kilometers wide, compressed inward, silently collapsing into dust. Within seconds, the entire mining zone ceased to exist. No explosion, only erasure. The drone transmitted the footage before its systems shut down from gravitational interference. The recording spread across intelligence networks within hours. Galactic analysts understood immediately. This was not simple firepower. This was control over the fabric of space. Back in the council chamber, silence returned once more as leaders watched the footage. One counselor finally spoke. If they wished to destroy us, they already could. Another answered, but they have not. Ambassador Elias stood slowly. Humanity does not seek domination. We seek security. Respect our borders, and we remain silent. Challenge them, and silence answers. No one argued, because no one could. Far beyond the outer rim, Draconian fleets resumed hidden formation. They had made their point. But Commander Valek knew something others did not. Power always invites testing. Some empire somewhere would eventually try to measure Earth again. And when that day came, silence would strike once more. The galaxy had grown quiet. Trade routes reopened. Fleets returned to their home systems. Public statements spoke of unity and cooperation. But beneath that calm surface, tension remained. Fear does not disappear. It waits. In a distant outer rim sector, a young, aggressive empire, known as the Varent, studied every report about the Draconian Fleet. Their rulers were ambitious. They believed power should be tested, not feared. Their high warlord stood before his commanders. If these shadows protect Earth, then remove the shadows, he said. We strike not at Earth, but at its guardians. Scouts were sent toward the edge of human-protected space. They traveled carefully using stealth drives and sensor masking. For weeks they saw nothing. No Draconian ships. No energy signatures. The warlord smiled. Myths fade with time, he said. Prepare, phase assault. Far beyond their detection range, Draconian watchers had already recorded every movement. Commander Valek stood in his silent command chamber. The Varent believe courage means noise. They will learn. Do not engage fully, he ordered. Contain. Disable. Let the lesson travel. As the Varent fleet crossed into restricted space, their systems flickered. Navigation maps glitched. Communications delayed. The first sign came as shadows forming ahead. Darkblade-shaped ships sliding out of phase. This time they did not hide. They wanted to be seen. Varent captains shouted battle commands. Charge weapons. Lock targets. Bright plasma cannons fired. The beams passed through empty space. Draconian ships shifted position without moving. Space itself bent around them. Suddenly the Varent flagship engines shut down. Not destroyed. Stopped. Gravity wells formed around each ship, trapping them in invisible cages. Panic spread across the Varent bridge. We cannot move. We cannot fire. Their warlord demanded visual contact. Valak appeared on their main display, his red eyes steady. You approach territory under protection. Turn back. The warlord laughed, trying to hide fear. We test only your strength. Valak answered calmly. Strength does not shout. He lowered his hand slightly. Around the trapped fleet, smaller Draconian vessels activated precision phase pulses. Weapon systems across every variant ship dissolved. Not exploded. Dissolved. Armor weakened. Shields collapsed. Engines fragmented. But the ships remained intact. Crew alive. Message delivered. Valak spoke once more. Return to your empire and speak of what you have seen. If you cross this line again, silence will not spare you. The gravity cages lifted. Variant ships drifted powerless but functional. Their fleet retreated without firing another shot. Across the galaxy, news spread quickly. The Draconians had shown restraint. Not cruelty, power with control. In the Grand Council chamber, leaders watched the recorded encounter. No mockery followed. No challenges. Only acceptance. Earth was no longer underestimated. Not because it was loud, but because it was protected by something older, quieter, and absolute. On Earth, Ambassador Elias stood once more before the Council. Humanity seeks partnership, he said. Not fear. Respect our borders, and we will respect yours. This time, every council light turned green. Agreements were signed. Trade restored. Alliances rebalanced. Far beyond visible space, the Draconian fleet slowly withdrew deeper into shadow. They did not need to surround Earth anymore. Their message lived in memory. Commander Valak looked once toward the distant blue planet. Debt repaid, he said softly. Silent watch continues. And across the universe, one truth remained clear. They had called humanity weak. But the galaxy learned that the strongest force does not roar. It waits. And when it moves, it does so in total silence.